Okay, so today we are looking at a Aire 7 customer. We're doing a little service call because the customer just wants some help with making sure that the stove is running correctly. They feel that possibly the stove is not getting sufficient oxygen into the combustion chamber to run nicely. So I'm going to do a little check over, make sure everything's okay, and then we're going to give it a run. Okay, I'm going to leave this running and then just talk through what we're going to do. Okay, what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to check that the throat plate is in position correctly. So I'm just going to drop that throat plate down, have a look inside. Rest that there. Okay, so I've got two throat plates. Second one is a metal one. Let's just see if we can just see that with the camera on. So you see the second one here. Okay, it locks onto a little lug. If I can get it in, little lug just there. You can see that? It's not in focus, but yep, there it is. Okay, that's locked in place and everything appears to be in order. Just going to put the throat plate back in. Let's just settle that. That's sitting in nicely. Right, that's that done. What I'm also going to do for the customer is give them a complimentary Charnwood flue thermometer, obviously designed to stick to the flue. This flue will be stainless steel, so it won't do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the body of the stove so that the customer can get comfortable with the stove being up to temperature, and knowing, you know, that he's using it in the correct range. So because it won't be on the flue, the temperature gauge will be anything from 15 to 30 minutes sort of delayed, but at least it will give him a reading. Okay, I think we'll put it on the top just so that you can see, and I'll put it on the top away from where the door will be open. Let's put it at the back so then we can get a good idea of when we're up to temperature. Okay, let's light it. Now the customer, I'm pretty happy that the customer's got a nice dry wood, but just to make sure this is scientific, I brought some of my own wood from my place that I've been using on my Aire 7, so that we know that everything's good and we can see how it runs. So let's just get this bit built. Okay, just like I do at home. Just a couple in the bottom. It's even better if you got a couple of shorter logs. I've got some recycled, well not recycled, I've got some pallets that I'm using for lighting the fire. We can split up. So I'm just going to make a fire like I do back at my place, so that we can have a reasonably fair comparison. So let's just set that other wood aside. Pop that. I'm going to try from the top down. I can feel the flue is still nice and warm from yesterday. Still got some warm air going up there. So let's let's see what happens. So air control out. Make sure you can see that on the video. Okay. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the method of just leaving that latch on, as we discussed, so that we can have that door open a crack. I really want this fire to get going quickly, because obviously we want to get on with other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just gently latch that onto there. Is that on the camera? Yeah, good. Let's just make sure you can see. So the door isn't open, what you do is just gently, put the latch so that it's just holding the door closed, or hold it stopping the door, but you've still got loads of air flowing into the stove. Now it's just a case of waiting. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to go and pack my tools away. Got to just check the time when we lit, so we get an idea as to how long it's taking. So it was 10:59 now, so probably going to be, it must have been about 10:55 when we lit it, yeah? So let's see how we go. I'll leave that there. So it's now about 7 minutes, and you can see that the temperature gauge is starting to rise. So it means that's getting nice and warm. As can be seen, the fire's establishing, still only kindling, so we're nowhere close to being able to close the door yet. And I'm guessing that it must be coming up to about 8 or 9 minutes since I lit the match. You can see that my blue gum at the bottom there, the larger piece, is starting to ignite. So that's a good sign. And it's really starting to pick up the pace now. Okay, I guess that, let's have a look at the time when it comes on. We're at 11:06, if you can see that. So I estimate we've been running for about 10-11 minutes. So now I would be quite happy putting my next piece of wood onto that fire. What I'll do is I'll use my wood, but as I said, I think the customer's wood is just as good. So what I like to do, so now I'm going to just open that open, and then because I've laid those logs in that pattern, I can easily lay another log across. Just latch that on so that it stays open. To show you what it looks like from the side. So you can see there, the latch just grips so that the door isn't swinging open. You've got it set up there so that it can let plenty of air in. Let's see what's happening with the temperature on the top. So you'll see that the gauge actually gives you a best operation marker. So we are just not even on best operation yet, we're not hot enough. So we want it to be in the middle at 12 o'clock before we could say that it's at ideal temperature. So let's just let it go a little bit longer. Just a little comment here, folks. Just you see the curtain is quite close to the stove. Well, we supply them. You can get what we call heat shields that create like a convection panel on the side. I can't touch that, you see. Just to protect sensitive materials that are within 50 centimeters of the stove. So ideally, that's something for this customer to consider in the future, just to be on the safe side. But yeah. Now at this point, I am wanting to put some more wood on here. Let's just see how we go. Now, my one at home, if I get a really good roaring fire, potentially I could close my door at this point. However, when I'm looking at the flue, the thermometer, I would just like to give it a little bit longer to get a little bit hotter, and then we can make sure that we're giving it its best opportunity to establish itself. Okay. The clock says 11:13. Okay. So in about another 2 minutes or 3 minutes will be 20 minutes that it's been running. I don't usually sit watching my fire whilst it's getting lit, so it's hard to remember or to realise how long it takes. I normally go off and start doing some work and then come back to it. But so far we are at 11:16 on the clock, so I estimated that we started at about 5 to 11, so about 21 minutes in. Now I think I'm comfortable that that's pretty well established. So let's see what happens when we close the door properly. Actually see the pattern of the air. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but you can see the air holes, the pattern of the air jets coming through. That's after 21 minutes. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to see what how it runs. Let's see what our flue thermometer is doing. Okay, so we're getting close to the middle, so we're looking for sort of a 12 o'clock position. So at the moment we're just on sort of 5 to 12, but we're getting there. And it's starting to get warm in here now. I'm quite comfortable with that. I don't think there's any major issues. I mean, we're still not the firebox inside is still likely not up to optimal temperature because we haven't even got hot coals bedding down yet. So I would leave that happily to keep going as it is. Depending on the time that I've got here with the customer, I may just wait for that to occur, but I could end up waiting for another 45 minutes before I can reload any more on here. So I don't think that's going to serve us well. I'm going to wait for another 10 minutes. So we're now at 11:20, which is 25 minutes since I lit the match. So let's wait at least half an hour and see how we go. But I'm generally happy with that. Now, for the customer's benefit, just to, at this point in time, I would not be closing my Aire yet. And also, if there is, if you are finding that closing the Aire right down isn't working for you, it's not the law that you must close your Aire right down. I mean, if your wood's slightly damp, although yours doesn't seem to be from what you told me, or if the draw isn't as strong as perhaps in other chimneys, that's what the air control is there for. But this kind of rate that this is burning at is nice. This is what I want. It's not roaring. If it's roaring, then you're burning through your fuel much too quick, very inefficiently, and in actual fact, wasted fuel is going up your chimney. So that to me is very nice, and I would say to you now that when those other logs bed down, as you add more fuel on, you will find that that's going to run nicely. So I think we've got a good result there. Let's just have a look at the temperature on the top of the stove. Yeah, just about at 12 o'clock optimal temperature. Okay, so I hope that we've got a good result there. Certainly looks nice. Let me just come back here. So what I'm going to do now, just to finish off, is I'm just going to, these are still the first 5 logs. The time now is, the clock, where is it? 11:26. So we are pretty much half an hour since we lit the stove. We closed the door at about 20 minutes. Okay, so now I'm just going to mess with the air control a little bit. So that's into the first click. And this is sliding down to the point where you have the final click. So you can see immediately the manner in which the flames are affected. So still, but as you can see, it's not going out, but allow it like that. Okay, so the first button, if we push it into the first, that is between there and fully closed is where we would normally be running our stove once it's well established. So it seems to be okay. I hope you have a happy customer. So the only thing I had to do nothing to the stove. All I did was just adjust the front frame just so that it was wasn't so much friction against the air control. So it's just a little bit smoother.